Okay, good morning. So my name is Chris Pons from TPG Project Group, and this morning we're going to be looking at Microsoft Project Online 2013, which is offered through Microsoft's Office 365 capability. So we have a few slides to set the scene this morning, and then we will look at a live part of the system as well. Slides will be made available afterwards in PDF format, and we'll get those out to you as soon as we can. This is also being recorded, so we should be able to make that available in the next few days as well, if possible. So a quick background just on TPG briefly, so you can understand who we are and our background. My background, by the way, is 15 years of deploying PPM or project portfolio program management type solutions, not just with Microsoft, although that has been my primary set of technologies for about 10 years. In terms of TPG, we founded in 1998 in Germany, and we've grown across Europe, America, and South Africa over that period as well. So you can see we have global reach available, and we have a number of worldwide implementation partners. We don't just deploy the Microsoft PPM toolset, we have a number of applications that also extend the capabilities of that toolset as well. Primarily that will be things such as SAP and ERP integration, so including Dynamics AX, and integration with other line of business systems such as HR and other project management toolsets such as Primavera as well. We do run webinars on these sessions, on these particular products as well, and I will be running one next week. So if you keep an eye on our website, you'll be able to see that data as well. We're a Microsoft Gold Certified Partner. We specialize in the Microsoft PPM toolset. We sit on something called the Microsoft Partner Advisory Council, so we have good insight into the roadmap of the toolset moving forward. And our products for the SAP side of things are SAP certified. We have PMI certified individuals in the team, along with those who understand, obviously, not just the technology stack, but also what's required to make deployment of a PPM type toolset successful in your organization as well. So as an organization, we undertake consulting. We have a number of products. We have total solutions as well, so we provide organizations with an end-to-end capability, and of course training, which is really important. It's not just about putting in some tools and some processes, it's about rolling those things together and providing an overall solution. So we look at the Project 2013 versions here. You've got your classic in the center project client there, so Microsoft Project Professional is one we'll be looking at today, or Microsoft Project 2013 Pro as it's also known. And that's really the classic desktop Microsoft project planning tool that everyone knows and loves, and has been around for a good number of years. On the left-hand side, we have Project Server, which is the on-premises capability, gives us the central resource pool, central project repository, gives us the ability to capture the life cycle of our projects, have workflows, authorizations to proceed through gates, for example. Allows us to undertake what we would term classical portfolio management in terms of selection and prioritization of projects, and then also collaborate more effectively on things such as risks, issues, task lists for individuals, timesheets as well. Now, previously, Project Server has been around since the year 2002. So we've had 2002, 2003, 2007, 2010, and now the 2013 versions as well. When Microsoft were launching the 2013 versions of Office, SharePoint, Project, Visio, and all those other products, they also chose to take Project Online. So that's now available as a cloud-based capability through Office 365. It's available as a software as a service model, of course, so you can pay on a month-by-month basis. There are discounts if you take out a yearly subscription as well. And that includes being able to download Microsoft Project Client onto your desktop as well and have it streamed to you. So we're really going to concentrate on Project Online today. It gives you almost all of the capabilities of Project Server. The only minor difference is reporting, which is available through what's terms of OData feed as well. All reporting, by the way, is undertaken through Excel, and we'll look at those capabilities today. So the tools that we're going to look at, again, depends on your requirements as an organization, but whether you have lightweight requirements in the bottom left-hand corner, up to enterprise requirements where you need a complete PPM solution with selection and prioritization of projects and day-to-day control, the Microsoft Project Online capability will fit your needs. So the purpose around here is to unify your project portfolio management. So we're going to look at a very simple kind of process: create, select, plan and manage. And so we're talking around top-down portfolio management and bottom-up day-to-day running of your projects. Now, organizations that I speak to have varying different levels of need, requirement and maturity. So although we're going to look at quite a lot of capability today, it's important to note that it is modular and we can decide what we're going to deploy and how we're going to deploy that to the various different parts of our organization as well. So we can see at the top we have the ability to capture business case information, do capacity planning, prioritize our portfolio if we wanted to as well. Again, some of these things depend on the maturity of the organization and also depends on what what capabilities you currently have as well. The tools are there obviously to support processes and working methods. So if you don't do these things already, then again, they are things that you will need to consider as well. Classical things that we'll be thinking about as well will be resource management, resource forecasting, capturing things like issues and risks, looking at other collaborative capabilities such as document management, and maybe time reporting. And of course, we spend all this time putting data in. We want to be able to get some project reports out to enable us to actually be able to more actively manage our projects going forward. So that's the kind of process we'll look at this morning. So what's new in Project 2013? Well, with Project Online, it's very easy to get up and running quickly. Again, you know, we're not discounting the fact that you're using a tool, you need to have some processes in place and people who are going to use it as well. But it is flexible, so we can start very simply and then add extra capabilities as we move forward. And of course, we've got the benefit of collaboration out of the box. Again, everything we're going to look at today is going to be based on configuration of the tool set. Some of the reporting is obviously requires a bit more time and effort, but nothing that someone with good Excel skills wouldn't be able to do as well. And it can make us more agile. We don't need to install software onto our desktop or into our premises, and we can be up and running in minutes, hours and days potentially as well. So I'm going to flip over to the tool now. I'm just going to share my Internet Explorer as we go here. Let's have a look at that. That should be coming up now. Just let that start. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so at the moment we're in Project Web App. I'm in the home page. I'm logged in with administrator, right, so I get to see everything. On the left-hand side we have our menu bar, of course, and we can see various different capabilities that we have access to here. In the middle we have these green boxes. Again, these are configurable and they're really designed for newer people who want some support and guidance as they get used to using the toolset as well. And in the lower part of the screen, what we can start to see here are the various different projects we have ongoing, and then we have a site per project, so we can capture things like risks, issues and documents as well. Typically where people start with the toolset is around projects. So the project center view allows us to have a rolled up summarized view across our project portfolio. In the left hand side here, I've grouped my projects by project department. The way the toolset functions is that we have attributes we define against projects and tasks and resources, and that then allows us to group, sort and filter that information. On the right hand side we can see a graphical representation of our timeline for our projects as well, and we can see various different views here. I've actually created a timeline view at the top, and this is from the data within the project schedules themselves. So Project Online is our central repository for project data. Now we can create projects in Microsoft Project, and we'll come to that shortly, but we can also create them in Microsoft Project Web App as well, which is what we're in at the moment. So although I'm in Internet Explorer to do this, we can also access this through Firefox, Chrome, and Safari as well. So regardless of the browser or the device you're using, you will be able to access this data as well. Now we can also see for this project we've got some red and green indicators that we've set up. Again, these can be subjectively defined, or you can define them objectively by looking at, say, baseline against current plan as well. We can have as many of those fields as we want. So let's have a look at this. We've got various different views that are available to us as well, so not just project details. I might want to look at, say, projects by phase or stage, so I can drill down into that, see some more information, and this gives us an indication of the fact that we can actually build in our project processes into our project online as well. So for example, if I wanted to create a new project, I'd come up the top here and say, right, I'd like to create a new project, and I can define a set of templates that will say, well, what type of project is it? You know, it's new product development, for example, and that means that I have to fill in, say, certain forms, and I'll get a template that I can use to actually do my planning with as well. Now I'm going to drill down into one of my projects and show you a bit more detail. I'm going to go back to my project details view, and I want to choose this health assessment reporting tool. Now if we have a look on here, what we can see is that, in fact, if I bear with me a moment, there we go. So here's my health assessment reporting tool. I'm going to drill down into that, and what this is going to allow me to see is the various different bits of information that we have available to us as well. So at this point, I'm at the health assessment reporting tool. I can see where I am in the workflow. I can see details about this project as well. So in fact, let's look at these project details and what that gives us. So we're using standard SharePoint form capability here. As I drill down into the project, what I'll be able to see are things like cost information, maybe details about the project as well, such as the name, a description, when we think it's going to start and finish, some justification as well. If I was to edit this, what we'll be able to see is that we actually get a form that we can fill in, and again, we can configure this with more or less data as necessary. Now, one of the other things that the toolset provides us with is the ability to actually align our projects with our business strategy and say how we're actually going to support that business strategy as well. Again, just to be clear, this is just one of the capabilities in the toolset. It is quite a mature thing to do, but on this occasion, we've got a number of business drivers, such as expand into new markets and segments. And what I'm saying is that this project is going to support expand into new markets and segments in a strong way, so it's going to help grow revenue between $1 million to $3 million. So what we'll have typically done with an organization first is to actually understand what their selection and prioritization capabilities are, what processes they're going to follow, and then we build this out with them. As you can imagine, this is a softer consulting-led piece of work to really understand what the opportunities for the organization are. And what we'll look at shortly is how, by aligning our projects to these various different business drivers, we can then run some analysis to say, well, based on what you're looking to achieve as an organization, this would be the best mix of projects to run, and this is the best mix of projects to run based on how much money you have and how many resources you have as well. So we'll come back to that shortly. I'm going to drill down into my schedule, and in fact in here what I can then see is the schedule for this particular project. So again, depending on who you are within the project team, it may be that you don't actually need a copy of Microsoft Project on your desktop because you're just viewing data or interacting with certain aspects of data that don't require you to have a full copy of the project plan available for you to look at as well. Now, as we go, as this is just waiting to come down, what we can also see at the top here on this menu bar is we can see other bits of information about the project, such as risks, issues, and documents as well. And there is actually a project site which has this data within it. So just wait for this to come up. There we go. So there's my project, and what we can actually see here is I've got my project. Let's zoom in a bit more, see some more detail. At the top, I've got a timeline view that I've created in Microsoft Project or in the Project Web app. And in fact, I can actually come in here, because I've got the correct access rights, I can actually start to edit this as well. So what you can see now is that I can actually create, let's say I've got a new work package. Yeah, new work package. I'm going to create that in here, and we're going to run some workshops. Let's just put that in there. And in fact, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to outdent that so it becomes a new. There we go. Indent that, in fact. There we go. Indent that. There we go. It's my new work package. I'm going to say there's 10 days of workshops, and we can start to do our planning in there as well. We can even assign resources to those tasks at the same time. So I can pull those from a pick list. We have a central resource pool with named, generic, and cost and material type resources as well. So that's available for us to look at the same time. So what you can see there is very quickly from the top at Project Center, we can actually see all of the details that we need to in terms of the overall details around our project portfolio, and then we can drill down into the details and see more information about that as well. At the same time, while we're actually looking at things like our resources and our project schedules, we can capture other information about our projects as well, and really provide people with much greater insight as to the current status of our projects, such as what risks we have, what issues, and what documents as well. So for each project, we have a project site, and that's going to allow us to see various different bits of information about that project as well. So I like to think of this as like a live status state for our project. Here's my health assessment reporting tool. I've got some tasks that are running a bit late. If I now look at this, it's going to show me a timeline view that we saw earlier. I've got a news feed. Again, we could integrate this with Yammer if you're using that. And I can see things like documents and risks and issues as well. So very familiar if you're using SharePoint. Yeah, here's a standard kind of SharePoint risk log. I can see information about this. Apparently there's some issues maybe with resources during the holiday period. I can drill down and start to see some information about that as well. So a really great way of being able to actually look at our projects, really understand the overarching what's going on with our projects at that point in time. So all web-based at the moment. So what else can we see in here? Well, individuals can be provided with task lists. So once we've assigned people to bits of work, we actually have the ability to give them a list of tasks that they can have. They can record their progress against that, and that can also be integrated with Outlook depending on what you are actually deploying as well. So here's my task list. I can see that graphically at the moment. What I actually want to do now is actually say, well, what happens if I wanted to book some time to that? And so I can come in here and I could actually start to book some time. And you'll notice it's showing me what's completed, what's in the current period, and what's in the distant future as well. So we have that ability to provide people with various different views of information, and you can see that we can sync it to Outlook as well if you're using the correct type. So moving on from there, we've seen our plans. We've seen that we can provide individuals with information. You know, perhaps you are a line manager and you want to understand what your people are up to as well. So what we can do there is we have our central resource pool. I've picked a few people to have a look at. So Carl, myself, Chris Pond, and a consultant. So I'm part of that consultant team as well. And what I want to do now is actually look at the resource availability. And that's a great thing about Project Server is that it takes all your project schedules, all of your work, and it rolls up the information about what your resources are planned to do and what availability you have. So in this example, what I can see is that the black line is showing me the availability or capacity for our resource pool for those people. We're looking at weekly bins, as we call them here, or weekly units. And what I can see is the blue and the green is showing me what Chris, myself, and Carl are up to, and the yellow is showing me what we have for consultant type resources. So what we can see here is that we've actually got a period of time when Chris and Carl are overloaded and we're looking for more resource as well. So at that point, what we could then start to do is we could drill down into the details below, see some information about that. But we could also click and say, well, let's have a look at the more detailed resource assignments. And we can start to see more information about what our people are working on. The idea here is that instead of having to run around and chase people for this information, we're using information that's available to us, and we're actually being able to get more information about what we're doing and when we're doing that as well. So again, it's insight into the availability of our people, and we're not running around, and I'm sure you've all seen this with lots of Excel spreadsheets that are manually updated across an organisation. With this, we get the information and we can make strategic decisions about what we're going to do with our resources. Okay, so we've looked at some things that you're probably fairly familiar with in the fact that we have a plan, we've assigned resources to that, we can then start to understand the impact of that change on our resources, see how busy they are. Something that you may not have seen in the past, though, is the ability for us to actually undertake some analysis on our project portfolio as well. So what I've done is I've worked up some scenarios. I've got a number of projects that I want to look at, and what I'm going to do here is actually undertake some analysis to say, okay, look, I've got a mix of projects. Which are the best projects for me to actually execute? And what I'm going to be able to do is see my list of projects and actually understand, based on a constraint, in this case it's going to be money, which projects should we be doing. So on the right hand side we can see a list of projects that I'm going to run a scenario against. In the top here where it says total cost, where my mouse is, you can see it's going to cost us $18 million to run all those projects. I've got an American configuration here. I've got 22 projects we've run, and if I delivered all those projects, I deliver 100% of the strategic value of those projects as well. Now what's important to note here is that the strategic value is defined by those business drivers we looked at earlier, such as expand into new markets and segments or reduce our expense base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, what happens if I only had £14 million to spend or $14 million to spend this year? And the toolset will say, well, based on how you've aligned your projects to your business drivers and the relative weighting of those business drivers, I would suggest you run these particular projects here. However, I wouldn't suggest you run these ones because they won't deliver the most benefit to you. So you can see there we've got a list. Now it's very objective, obviously. It's based on a set of drivers, business drivers that we have. Now again, we can be simpler about how we do our prioritization. Such as using just a very simple score such as 1, 2 and 3 and run our analysis that way. Now I'm going to say, well, what happens if I maybe force some projects into and out of that prioritized list? You know, we may have to do some projects because of regulatory reasons or just because the boss says we need to do them. And what we can see here is that as we do that, if we force some projects in, and we can see which ones we forced in here, you can see we've actually had to move some out. So again, it gives us that ability to undertake some scenario planning. Anything we do in here doesn't impact the plans that are already in execution, but it does give us that ability to say, oh, what's the best mix of projects for us to actually do? Now, depending on your type of organisation, you may or may not have a need for this particular aspect of that because you're driven by customers, for example, and so if actually 90% of your work is customer driven, then that's what you'd have to do. Now, what I'd like to do is actually, I can pop up a report that will give me some scenarios that I've done. And what we can see here is I've actually got 3 scenarios, my 14 million budget, my baseline, and the one we just looked at, force in and out. And we can see actually, depending on what scenario I've chosen, which project we're actually going to undertake, depending on which scenario I've chosen, which projects are selected, which ones aren't selected, and which ones will be forced in and will forced out as well. So we do get a very good opportunity to actually have a report available to us so that we can run those scenarios and then make that data available and visible to people. Now the next thing I wanted to look at was just to look at our resources as well. So I'm going to go back to my analysis, and I think this is a lot of people are really looking for this and use Project Server because it gives them that central resource pool and gives them the ability to do this type of scenario planning. So if we have a look on the screen now, I've got my projects, and if you recall, I had 14 million to spend. The toolset's saying, well, yes, you may have 14 million to spend, but actually you can only run 10 projects because you don't have enough resources. So what I can then start to do is come in here and say, okay, where do we have issues with our resources? And if I start to scroll across here, we can start to see where we've got problems. So again, I can see in March, May, June, I've got quite a few areas where we don't have enough resources. And the tool set will show me where we don't have enough. So for example, I can see I don't have enough procurement people, I don't have enough trainers, and I don't have enough marketing people as well. So what I can then start to do is say, okay, what type of scenario planning could I do? So I've got a couple of things that I'm going to show you here. I might say, well, what happens if I start earlier? And if I move one of these tasks, it says, well, if you start one of these tasks earlier, you will actually be able to undertake one of these projects. So again, we have the option of being able to say, I'd like to start a task or a project earlier or later and see what the impact is. But I could also say, well, what happens if I hired a couple more resources? And the toolset will say, well, if you hired a couple more resources, in fact, what you'd then be able to do is you'd actually be able to do another 3 projects. So again, we have the ability to say which projects are we actually able to do. And we can run some scenarios then and say, okay, so I've said hire 2 resources. What type of resources would I hire? And then I can see, right, I'm going to need a procurement person and a trainer, and I can see on what projects we'd run those as well. So we get some really great ways of being able to actually take all our projects, store them in the central location in Project Server, assign our resources from that central resource pool, and then be able to run various scenarios. At the same time, people who are running those projects can get task lists, and they can update the progress on their projects. And people can also run and see and understand the current status of the projects as well. Through the project sites, they can see things like risk distribution documents as well. So the final bit I kind of wanted to come towards were 2 things really. The first one is I'm just going to share Microsoft Project. So bear with me a moment while I just swap that over. Let's go to Project Professional. That's just about to pop up on your screen now. There we go. So I've got Microsoft Project Professional on desktop. If you've used Project before, then obviously what you have here is you have the ability to actually then see the Gantt chart on the right-hand side, get the graphical representation. On the left-hand side, we got our tabular data as well. We now obviously have the taskbar at the top, talking about tasks and resources and projects. New for 2013 is our report view as well. So in fact, a number of things that we find that people like the capability to do is nowadays to be able to create a timeline directly from our project. What we can then do with that timeline is copy it for email or for a presentation. So again, we can get it out to documents, PowerPoints as well. We don't have to manually create this. We can do various things like change the colors as you'd expect. We can have call outs here, so we can change these. And all of this information is then available in the project sites as well, which is very, very good. The other thing that we can also do here, which is new for 2012, is we have a load of extra reports. Now, reports hadn't changed much in Project since 2007 when we had the Excel and Visio integration. So now we have further integration with it's almost like full Excel. We have various different types of reports here. I'm going to look at one I created earlier, which is our project overview report. So here what I can see is it's taken data from the project schedule, and it's showing me things like late tasks and milestones that are due, and we can produce various different information. So let's have a look at resource overview, perhaps see some details about our resources. We can also see information maybe about costs. So we'd like a resource cost project view. Maybe we'll have a cost overrun report as well. We're doing pretty well here, so we're very happy with that at the same time. So the reports very easy for you to create yourselves. Again, as we start to do this, I've got charting tools in here. We can change the various different types of reports we have as well. So again, if you're used to using Excel, you'll find this very familiar, and we can make these standard and roll these out to various different people at the same time. So that's really about desktop reporting. But obviously one of the kind of key powers here is the fact that we also have enterprise central reporting. And we're going to come to that in a moment. I just wanted to finish off with project. Let's go back to our Gantt chart view. So here's my project plan. Various different views available to us as well. New for 2013 is task path. Allows us to understand what's driving our projects and tasks as well, so we can see information much more clearly. You know, if I've got resource overloads as well, get the little red person telling us that there is an overload at the same time. And when we come to actually pick our resources, we can actually pick these from the central resource pool, and we have the ability to look at the availability of our resources based on all of the work they're planned to do. So again, when you're thinking about project and project server, don't just think about projects, think about work. Because, you know, we can capture things such as holidays, annual leave, sickness, training, all of that kind of thing. It's not just about projects, it's about work. Think about work more readily. If we go into the backstage, if I go to open up my project, you can see we can connect to my project online. We've named it TPG Project Online in this case. Click on Browse and open up all the projects that are available to me as well. So no more worrying about where's my MPP file stored. It's stored in Project Server relationally. There's a full security and access control system here as well, so we can define what functionality people have access to and what they can actually see as well. So again, great way of being able to control that. So I was just going to roll up and finish this off by looking at some of the reporting. So I'm going to go back to Project Web App, and specifically, of course, we're going to look at the business intelligence capabilities here as well. So reporting, and again, all the web aspect is delivered through SharePoint. I've got a number of different types of reports that are available to me. And of course, this type of reporting doesn't just have to be about projects. We could start to use it for other reporting capabilities in our organization as well. I've got a number of examples that I've put here. You can see they're all Excel based. So if we just pop one of these up, this is going to ask me to pause the session, so I'm just going to refresh that. So here's my project summary. I've chosen to look at all my different project types. Maybe I'm only interested in merger and acquisition projects, so I can click on that, and what it's going to do is show me a subset of that data as well. Maybe I want to look at software development projects. Click on that, it will show me all my software development projects. Here they are. You can see things such as the project name, how much work, what percentage is complete, and we get our red, amber, green indicators as well. And I've got my top 10 projects. So the great thing about this is the fact that we're using Excel. I can export it directly to Excel and do some further analysis if I want to, but this is delivered directly through the web browser. So again, like I said, regardless of what web browser you're actually using, whether it's Firefox, Chrome, Internet Explorer, or Safari, so if you're using an iPad, for example, you can gain access to this data as well. And it can be very interactive. Here's my project work analysis. So maybe I'm interested in, again, back into my software development. As I click on one of these particular areas, what it then shows me is it changes the type of data that we're looking at. So you can see here, depending on which one of these parts of the circle I change, it's going to show me that data as well. And we can then get do various different filters on here as well. If I come away from that, it'll show me all of that data. So very interactive ways of actually creating these types of reports. And a classic one that people are often looking for are things like milestone reports. So maybe I just want to have a look at my milestones. We'll look at this in two particular ways. The first way will just be a very simple Excel type list, but we could choose that into a pivot table, and there's the types of information that I want, when, what milestones are due this month. In fact, I'm more interested in understanding what milestones we have due in September. So very interactive. I can click on that, it shows me that data, drill down into it, maybe see some more information as well. So a really great way of being able to aggregate that data and see it in various different ways as well, of course. So, finally, let's just have a quick look at our resource information as well. How busy are our people and what are they planning to work on at the same time? So really great ways of being able to visualize that data and make it available to people at the same time. So if I flip back to my slides here just briefly to kind of bring it to a closeout. What I wanted to do was just review that again. So as you can see here, with our particular tool set, we have the ability with Projects Online to provide a central resource pool, a central repository for all our project data, to embed standards such as our project lifecycle, our standard resource types, how we categorize, group, sort and filter our resources and projects, how we can then use projects centrally to manage our project schedules or actually create project schedules in our web browser as well, how we can align those projects to our business drivers. We can then run some analysis to look at what issues we have around costs maybe, but also our resources, balance that, run scenarios, then deal with the issues, and at the end of the day, have a place where everybody can come to understand what's actually going on with our projects as well. So I'd like to thank you for your time today. It's quite a lot of information there to take on. The slides actually have a lot more information as well around our simple guides, around what's available, the visual clues that are available in Project Now, having all our data in one place, being able to access it from across various different devices, the fact that we can access it in Project Web App. It's flexible, of course. We can look at resources, compare demand and capacity, have a look at Team Planner, which we didn't touch on, unfortunately, look at time management as well, so timesheet capabilities, workflow as well, manage our demand, gain control of what's actually going on in our organization, optimize our portfolio that we looked at as well, and also then strengthen collaboration. And we didn't even manage to touch on the fact that there's link integration now. So again, when you look at the resources, you can actually see what people are available to do as well. So from here, we'll make these available. If you have any questions, I will be online for a bit longer, or feel free to send me an email as well. But I'd like to thank you for your time today, and to say that I hope that you gained a good insight into the capabilities of Project Online, and that we can speak to each other in the future as well. So thank you for that. Look forward to speaking to you soon, and wish you a very good day.